Hey, welcome back. Same day but different day for you guys. I like to kind of bust out these videos if I can, all on the same day. If you didn't remember, I made a joke about me being bald, white, and pasty. You saw Nina, but we also talked about the Silk Road, and today we're actually talking about the Iron Age. In the Iron Age, is kind of a lot of people think it's a specific time period, and it's not really because it's kind of throughout, and it affects different regions. The time to think about the Iron Age is when civilizations or areas or regions develop iron and use iron, right? And it varies throughout the world because of geographic luck, right? We learned about that in the first couple weeks of school about geographic luck. And the Iron Age is a name given to a time period, and we, as historians, say approximately about 500 BCE to about 43 CE, or in terms of the Gregorian calendar, 500 BC to 43 AD. And this is a time period when iron became the preferred choice of metal for making tools. In Europe, the Iron Age marks the end of a prehistory after Stone Age and after the Bronze Age. And why is the Iron Age so important? Well, it's iron itself. Okay, if you know anything about stone tools, you can't really form them, right? Bronze Age, it allowed us to create and smelt metal and form it to how it fit our needs as people. But it required two metals. It required copper and tin. Okay, Iron Age becomes a lot more important and huge surplus of technology and food and income for everyone because of the fact that it's easier to smelt, requires less work, and it's more durable than bronze. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just talk about a little bit about the Iron Age, and give you some timeline information first, and kind of give you kind of like where did it start first, how did it start, and how did it spread, because that's what it's all about. People saw it and they're like, whoa, holy crap. Nina again, she's so needy. Okay, guys, like literally I'm like a human popsicle. She's just licking me. She's like, Dad, please give me attention, I need attention, please. I just smacked her in the head. Just stop. Okay, Nina, hey, can you do something for me real quick? Okay, can you, look how she looks at me. I wish you guys looked at me like this. Okay, I need to talk to my students real quick, okay? So you need to either stay under the chair. Thank you. Oh my gosh, she's such a good listener. I wish you guys did that too. I wish you could listen a little bit, you know? That'd be so nice. But, so I'm gonna go through this timeline real quick. So approximately the Iron Age begins around 1200 BC. And you're like, Mr. Hughes, you just said it started around 500 BCE. Okay, in most areas it did, but Iron Age actually begins around 1200 BC in the Eastern Mediterranean. This is where we see the first like pocket of the resources, the Eastern Mediterranean. By 800 BCE, the use of iron spreads to Central Europe. First Iron Age hits the forts built in Britain. Okay, 700 BC, iron was widely used in Britain, and Britain is kind of credited for this because of the fact that they were using it first. 500 BC, the Celtic people arrive in Britain from Central Europe. And there's a war in there, and they then have the resources. They start spreading it as well throughout Central Europe. The first coins are minted in Britain using iron. Now you're like, well, were coins used before this? Yes, coins were made out of bronze. Currency was made out of different material all the times. The first coins minted in Britain around 100 BC with iron. Julius Caesar lands in Britain about 54 BC. We talked about Julius Caesar a little bit, about Rome and how he was stabbed multiple times and killed brutally, right? And the Roman invasion of Britain in 43 AD. Okay, so they're like, we want this iron and we want it now. So they invade, take it, right? So that's kind of the timeline. Now, some facts about the Iron Age itself, okay? Iron was tougher than bronze, and it could be shaped into finer and sharper objects. So not only was it stronger, it was more easier to smelt and to make it into more exact, precise tools. required smithing, heating, and hammering, and making tools and implements. The manufacturing, casting, and trading of bronze had required special skills and made those people who possessed these skills wealthy and powerful. Iron, however, was more readily available than bronze and was easier to work with. So it makes sense of why that is more appealable to everyone, right? Not only can everyone use it, but it's more readily available. Iron plows called ards were more efficient than early bronze and wooden plows. This meant they could till heavier soils, and so more land could be used for farming. So this talks about back to this technology feedback loop, right? That we get stuck in a little bit of a stagnant position. We don't have new technology. Iron, however, that new technology allows more products. And because of more products and more surplus, now we can support more population, right? More population means newer technologies, right? Because there's more people. As farming became more productive and population began to rise, right? So one of the most important things of time-saving inventions of the Iron Age was the rotary quern, which was a grinding grain to make flour. You see how that could be super important. The grain was placed between two circular stones, and the top stone was turned and rotated using a handle. The diets people ate, the houses they lived in, the customs they followed varied depending on which part of the country they inhabited. So again, we see that the Iron Age is not only affecting people because of what the iron products are, but it also other things that affect people too. Okay, having access to iron allows them to have different diets. You're like, well, that doesn't make any correlation, but it does. Okay, newer technologies allow to do newer things with food, newer things with materials, and that allows us to seek new information that we probably didn't have back then. Most Iron Age people worked and lived on small farms, and their lives were governed by changing seasons. Grain was stored in granaries under the vaults. Meat and fish could be preserved by salting and smoking. As people began to produce and store more grain that they could use, they were able to trade in surplus. Land ownership and grain production became a way to gain wealth and power. Now, we talked a lot about farming because not only was iron important, but it increased the farming production dramatically, and that's why we start seeing a huge population increases, because the fact that we can have more surplus of food. More surplus leads to more human population, right? So Iron Age and farming kind of go hand in hand, right? For all my farmers out there, think about how you farm today, and think about what farming would be like now or back in the Iron Age, right? Iron plows. Imagine if you're using wood plows and stone plows. Imagine that technology increase of iron, something that's more durable, more exact. It would make a huge impact to your family income. It make a huge impact to your wealth, to your health, right? And eventually it'd affect the whole community, right? Because all of you would be successful. All of you would start becoming wealthy because of this new technology, okay? So that is the Iron Age, okay? Before I get crazy, okay, I just want to say, hey, you got about 3 weeks of school left. You guys are doing really good. Keep up the work. Now as the summer gets, as summer arrives and the weather gets nicer, I know it's tough, it's tempting. Please stay diligent in your studies. Finish strong, all right? Martin Luther King Jr. says the best, time is always right to do what is right, okay? So with that being said, take care. God bless.